Is Aljamain Sterling the most disrespected UFC champion in history?
And no one really considered him the champion.
Sterling continues to get the hate, Nate Gass. Are any of these things Aljamain Sterling's fault, Nate?
And the question went as follows, and I shall quote for you. What would you do if you were Aljo and you're getting all of this negative attention? What would I do about it?
Aljamain Sterling is a Long Island-born African mixed martial artist who holds the UFC Bantamweight Championship with a professional record of 22 wins and 3 losses. Though Aljamain has scratched and clawed his way to the peak of the UFC's 135-pound division, majority of mixed martial arts fans do not credit him as the rightful champ and do not think he belongs on the Bantamweight throne. Many going as far as despising Sterling, but the question is why? He hasn't hit any pregnant ladies, punched any old men, or failed any drug tests. So why do people not like Aljamain Sterling? In this video, we are going to take a look into why people don't like or respect Aljamain Sterling. Tell me what you think about Aljamain Sterling in the comments, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe while you're at it. Despite the public's opinion on Aljamain Sterling, other than one brutal knockout loss to Marlon Moraes on December 9, 2017, Sterling has a nearly spotless record with only 2 other split decision losses. Sterling is the current Bantamweight champion, he has 2 successful title defenses, and don't worry, we're going to get to those later. He's tied with TJ Dillashaw for the most wins in UFC Bantamweight history with a whopping 13 wins, and he has the longest win streak in Bantamweight history with his current win streak of 8 wins. And you're probably wondering, why am I telling you all of this? It's to help you understand that Sterling is no slouch, and he will go down as one of the greatest bantamweights of all time when he retires. So, why does nobody respect him? You would think that the main reason fans would doubt or not respect or believe in a fighter would be because of that good old-fashioned loss, that good old L on the record that only few have been able to avoid in mixed martial arts. That would make sense as to why people may not believe in Sterling. Maybe his losses are bad, or maybe he's a quitter, or maybe he gets completely outclassed, right? Not really, actually. Aljamain has 3 losses in his professional career, and only one can be considered quote-unquote bad. Let's take a look at them. In Aljamain Sterling's unlucky 13th professional fight, he would suffer his first loss to Bryan Caraway via split decision in a 3-round fight. Sterling seemed to be the underdog due to the experience difference between these 2 men, seeming as Caraway at the time had 28 professional fights, which Sterling at this time of recording still only has 25 professional fights 6 years later. The fight started and both men seemed closely matched, trading shots on the feet back and forth and finding their range. Sterling shot a takedown, and after a struggle with punches being traded back and forth while on the cage, Sterling was able to get Caraway's back and maintain this dominant position for 2 minutes until the round concluded, this clearly giving Sterling the first round. As the second round began, the two would spend most of the time on the feet. It seemed that Caraway had the boxing advantage against Sterling and was able to land some good shots, as well as stopping any grappling attempts from Sterling in the early moments of the round. Sterling would find some success with elusive movement and kicks, keeping the fight out of boxing range, but Caraway managed to get in on a takedown and was able to secure it against the cage. While on top, Caraway was able to land ground and pound shots against Sterling for the remainder of the round as Sterling would fight to make it to his feet. None of these shots were major, but based off of the boxing exchanges Caraway was able to win, and the ground and pound shots that were landed on Sterling, it is safe to say that Caraway won a close second round. As the third round commenced, it seemed as if more of the same was happening. Caraway was landing good shots during the boxing exchanges, while Sterling was able to land some good kicks from a distance. Eventually, Caraway would secure a takedown along the fence. Sterling would make it back to his feet, but then Caraway would take him back down once more, even securing his back for the remainder of the round. You can clearly see the experience difference between these 2 men. As the last round transpired, Caraway, having been in this situation before, did what he needed to do to get the nod from the judges and a split decision victory. This fight could have very well been a draw depending on how you scored the first round, so there was no shame on Sterling's end. So it's fair to say that the disbelief or lack of respect for Sterling did not stem from this loss. So let's examine his other 2. On January 28, 2017, Aljamain Sterling would face off against Rafael Assunção, losing another closely contested split decision fight in which Sterling showed his promise, keeping up with the veteran in a fight which some fans believe he won. But once again, it seemed like the experience was too much for Sterling to overcome. This would be Sterling's second loss in a row, and close or not, any fighter losing twice in a row is a make-or-break situation for them. If they lose again, most times they are in danger of losing their position in the UFC. But, similar to other stories, losing 2 times in a row can light a fire under a fighter and set them off on a huge win streak. And for Sterling, this, unfortunately, wasn't the case. After Sterling's second professional loss, he seemed to turn things around, picking up 2 unanimous decision wins over Augusto Mendez and Renan Barão. Sterling tasted defeat consecutively, and it appeared as if Sterling were about to start a storytell comeback and rise to success. Until this happened.
To the center they go.
A brutal knockout loss to Marlon Moraes via a well-timed knee not only shattered Sterling's face, but shattered his 2-fight win streak and his hope to compete for title contention. This loss was different than the other ones though, because the other fights were up for debate and Sterling had a good showing. But in this fight against Moraes, it wasn't even close. Sterling got bombarded on the feet and even was dropped before the highlight knockout he suffered, so it's safe to say he got dominated. Up to this point, Sterling has 3 losses. 2 were debatable decisions and 1 was a brutal KO, so this poses the question, are these losses the reason for the disrespect of Aljamain Sterling? There could be an argument for the Moraes fight being the reason, but if you look at all the fan favorites like O'Malley, McGregor, Poirier, they all have suffered stoppage losses in their careers as well. And fans do not disrespect these competitors nearly as much as they do Sterling. So what's the reason? Why does Aljamain Sterling have the least amount of respect out of all of the current champions and most of the previous champions in UFC history? Well, surprisingly enough, to find this answer, we have to look at his wins. After a 5-fight win streak consisting of unanimous decision and submission victories, even getting a performance of the night bonus by submitting an up-and-coming fan favorite Corey Sandhagen in the first round, it was finally time. All of the setbacks, all of the training, all of the sleepless nights led Sterling to this moment. His first chance at the UFC bantamweight title. The stage was set, and well, Sterling was getting outclassed. In the early rounds, it seemed as if Sterling was doing a good job in finding some success against the massive favorite, but as the rounds progressed, Sterling got tired, and well, sloppy. Sterling took a lot of damage from Jan, even getting his legs swept from under him like he was a helpless child. Sterling displayed his toughness, taking shots that would have put out some of the other greats, but this wasn't enough. And as the fight neared its end, it was clear that Petr Yan was going to win a convincing decision against Sterling to defend his newly won belt. Until this happened.
Just pressing on the head here to him. That's illegal. His knee was
An illegal knee from Petr Yan floors Sterling, and after a lot of confusion and disbelief amongst fans and officials alike, Aljamain Sterling was crowned the new UFC bantamweight champion. There were different rumors regarding why Yan threw the obvious illegal strike, from bad intentions to miscommunications, but 2 things were true. Petr Yan's ironic no mercy moniker seemed all too real, and Aljamain Sterling was your new UFC bantamweight champion. Sterling received much criticism from fans, and he was deemed a paper champion by most due to his method of victory. You know, bro, I'm going off script, bro. All this reading hurt my eyes, bro. Basically, Sterling got kneed in the face and was crying, wah, right? And then he took a long layoff because he had to do surgery or some nonsense. People kept saying he was running and all this. And at first, he wasn't flexing with his title, but then you saw him on the gram flexing with his title. So everyone was like, oh, so you think you're the real champion, huh? And then while he was gone, Petr Yan became the interim bantamweight champion. And then the stage was set, bro. It was time to fight. It was time to get it on. Everyone wanted to see Yan beat up Aljamain Sterling, and everyone hated Aljamain Sterling. And the fight happened, but guess what? Aljamain Sterling didn't lose. He beat Petr Yan by split decision, which also added to the paper champion moniker or the rumors, because you know what I'm saying, like people thought that Yan won the fight, but Aljamain was able to get the nod from the judges, and that's really all that matters. But it kind of seemed like Aljamain Sterling had to literally punch Petr Yan so hard in the chest that his shoulders touched if people were going to give him his respect. You feel what I'm saying? So It just like Aljamain Sterling can't win, man. Aljamain Sterling can't win. I'm sorry for the unprofessionalism, bro, but I can't keep reading, bro. My eyes hurt. I've been reading the script for so long, man. Let's get into the next part of the video. On October 22nd, 2022, Aljamain Sterling would face an all-time great of the bantamweight division, TJ Dillashaw. Sterling wasn't counted out nearly as much as he was against Yan, but even then, many hardcore and casual fans thought TJ would get the win. The fight commenced, and at the end of it, Sterling knocked TJ out. Technically, not really, kind of. Something clearly seemed off about the way TJ was fighting, and it was later revealed that TJ Dillashaw's shoulder got cracked out of place, and there was a bunch of argument about how it got, like he came to the fight injured, or Aljamain was saying he injured his shoulder. Either way, Aljamain Sterling, he won. He knocked TJ out, not really, TKO'd him. He had him on the ground, he was hitting him on the ground with the shots, right? TJ Dillashaw, he came in the fight injured apparently. So a lot of people, there was two different sides. There was either, wow, that's really unprofessional, you wasted our time and everyone else's time. And then there's, wow, TJ's so brave, look at TJ, he came in the fight injured. But the problem with all that is, right, you notice what they're not saying? Oh my goodness, Sterling just beat one of the all-time greats, TJ Dillashaw. No one's saying that. It's all about TJ Dillashaw's injury. So whether TJ came in the fight injured or he got injured in the fight, either way, it takes the spotlight away from Aljamain Sterling, and it kind of adds to the whole idea that Aljamain Sterling isn't really the rightful champion, and he still doesn't feel like it with 2 title defenses, right? So it kind of it sucks for Aljamain Sterling. So the question is why does Sterling still not feel like the rightful champion? Well, it all comes down to unlucky circumstances. It's not Sterling's fault that he got kneed in the face. It's not his fault that TJ came in injured, but that's the hand he was dealt. Sterling, like every other champion currently in the UFC, scratched and clawed his way to the top. And the only thing he could have done better was decisively beat Jan, either by a unanimous decision or by stoppage. But this is Petr Yan we're talking about. Getting the nod from the judges is a tall task in itself. Maybe this video won't age well, and down the road Sterling will get the respect he deserves, but for now, it seems that Sterling will remain the champion who is hated for winning. What do you guys think? Is the public's opinion on Sterling warranted? Will Sterling's image ever change? Let me know down in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.